Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jason here. I wanted to make a video on this go-kart I made, and technically I think this would be almost part 5 of the trike. I have about 3 or 4 videos before this where I made a 3-wheel trike, and this is actually, half of this came from that project. So if you haven't watched those videos, go back and you'll kind of see the making of kind of the rear part of this go-kart. It was a these are actually the pieces that I had. It was the Schwinn Stingray chopper bicycle. I chopped up the front end, and this was actually a trike. So, and then I got bored of that, and I wanted to see if I could make a full go-kart out of wood, and I did. And it's pretty cool. One thing I can tell you, a tip right off the bat, if you ever attempt to build a wooden go-kart, probably even if it's metal, make sure you always use locking nuts on your bolts. Half the bolts on this thing, when I had it trike, rattled and fell off. Half the bolts, or I'm sorry, half the nuts that were on the bolts on the rear end, half these nuts on this rear end was gone in the street somewhere. I don't know where they went. It was actually goes to show how strong this wood frame is, because half the bolts weren't even on it and it was still holding together, and I didn't even know. Completely unsafe, but I didn't know. But it goes to show how strong this is. So this is a whole rear 2x4 rear end frame, Predator engine. I purchased a brake clutch, or I'm sorry, a clutch brake. That is the brake for the go-kart. But here is the whole rear end, I'm sorry, front end. And this is, it's a lot to explain, but it's just all kind of jimmy rigged. If I can sit down here, let me grab the steering wheel for you. I'm going to sit down here. If you look at the steering wheel, you turn it. Turns just like that. And so what I've got, this front 2x4 right here, this is bolted onto the frame. This one is not. So this is where it turns, slides back and forth. And I forgot what these are called. I got them at a D&B Tractor Supply store. And I just screwed this in around it. And that's the bracket right there, and that just goes up to the steering rod. And here's the steering wheel. I've got brackets. Steering wheel is screwed on right there, and then you've got 4 L brackets on there. It goes through some U-bolts over here, and I got these tiny little screws right here, so the whole steering shaft doesn't slide up and down. These right here are just for brace, because these are on hinges so they can move, so I screw these braces on so that it would be perfectly still. Came up with these nice brake and gas pedal. It's pretty cool. These are just trying to get out of the light here. These are bolted in through the side. This is just a metal bracket with a bolt going through and a PVC pipe. L brackets just for stopping, how far you want this to go. This L bracket keeps it from coming back, and this one up front keeps it from going any forward. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, I'm sorry, it's a little blurry. There's a bolt right here that's bolted through the bracket, and I drilled a couple holes through that bolt where you can run your cable and another spring if you want. So, okay, I know it's a little dark, but if this kind of helps, this is the other side. Here's the brake, but here's the gas one. So you can see there's the bolt going through the PVC, and on this side you have another bolt coming through the opposite side, and then I drilled 2 holes through that bolt so you can run your cable or extra spring, if this helps. And then these pedals just bolt in through the side, and there's a couple washers in there. And I actually did have some springs hooked up there, but I didn't need them. The actual pullback of the brake and the gas on the engine, I didn't need to put in any extra springs. This actually will just spring back on its own. So I made my own chain tensioner, and I actually need to make another one of these, and I'll explain. But this is your clutch brake that you can order from OMB Warehouse. Completely worth it in my opinion. You get an entire brake system and the clutch cover, which is really nice. I bought this chain tensioner. It's like a motorcycle. There was a lot more to it. I got it off Amazon for about 15 bucks. And all I did was take a piece that it came with, drilled a hole, mounted it, and then ran a spring right there. And you have your own chain tensioner, and that's attached right to there. So if you take off this cover, this comes right off with it. I actually want to make another one on the other side. The other thing that I did that worked out really, really well was running the cables, the brake, and your gas pedal. I drilled a very, very thin hole through the wood, just enough for the cable. You can see how small that is. And then on this side, I only drilled about halfway through, big enough for the outer casing of the cable so that the sleeve does not go all the way through. So that's basically your mount right there, and then your cable can come straight out right to there. And I did it on both sides. Here's the kill switch mounted right here, and steering wheel is a piece of plywood. It's a pretty funny setup here. These are actually Harbor Freight wheels. Little 5/8 axles that are U-bolted to the steering mechanism. This is actually a little piece of a GoPro set that I used. It looks like a pipe clamp, and this is just, I can mount a GoPro right here, and I'm going to show you a video at the end of this video, and it looks, the view of the GoPro is right there. So I put the GoPro on there, and this is the view you get, and I'll show you, I'll have the video at the end of this video, and you can watch me cruise around the street. So that's it, guys. That is my homemade do-it-yourself wooden go-kart, and I think it's pretty cool. It is hard to steer this thing, I'm not gonna lie. When you're out cruising, it drives really well. This whole frame is holding up very well, but it is hard to steer to turn, but it does work. For wood, you can't really complain. You know, just a project to see if I could do this, and it all works, it all functions, it's safe. The way this is geared, I've got a 12-tooth clutch, 60-tooth gear. This thing, I could guarantee you get up to 45 miles an hour. I'm not going to do that because I care about my life. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. This is my homemade wooden go-kart. I'm actually gonna, after a month, I'm going to turn this whole thing into a mini bike, or bigger than a mini bike. Here's my wife's right here. She's got this Monster Moto one, and my son's got this one back there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but in a month I'm gonna end up taking this whole thing apart, and I might make a wood mini bike, motorcycle, or something else. But what's really cool about having all these pieces, especially your engine and clutch and all that, I can make different stuff with this and reuse a lot of these same parts. So. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment in the comments section, and you guys take care out there.